Am I out of touch? Is the world weird or is it just me?
That sound you just heard is my cat, informing me that breakfast was 4 minutes late and that this constitutes, in his words, an emergency. Welcome to 9 Lives, No Refunds. This episode is for anybody who has ever apologised out loud to an animal that cannot understand English but absolutely understood the tone. I'm Alison, and today we're talking about vets, cats and catteries. 3 things that will collectively bankrupt you or making you feel somehow that you're the one who's failed. Let's start with the vet, specifically the miracle of actually getting an appointment. Because your cat can develop a mysterious limp on a Tuesday morning and you call the vet and you are told very calmly, as if this is normal, that the earliest available slot is in 11 days. 11 days? Your cat has a limp. He is not going to schedule his ailments around the receptionist's calendar. He is not going to say, you know what, I'll hold off on this medical event until it's convenient for the practice. And you're not even talking to a vet at this point. You're talking to a triage system. Is it an emergency? Well, define emergency. He's limping. He's not thrilled about it, but he also just used the same leg to knock a full glass of water off the counter, which is what can only be described as malicious precision. So how bad can it really be? And if you do get bumped to urgent, you're rewarded with the single most stressful sentence in the English language. Please bring him in and we'll fit you in between appointments. Which means you now sit in a waiting room with a cat in a carrier who's screaming as though he's being extradited for 2 hours next to a Labrador who is having the best day of his entire life for absolutely no reason, just delighted to be anywhere. And can we talk about the transformation? The cat who has spent the entire car journey and the entire waiting room absolutely losing his mind. Hissing, growling, doing his best impression of a much larger and much more dangerous animal, and then the second the vet actually touches him, silence. Angelic, purring like a lawnmower, butter wouldn't melt. And you're sat there going, no, he was awful 5 minutes ago, I promise you, I'm not a liar, he's not like this, he's putting on a show for you specifically. Cats are the only creatures on earth who will save their worst behaviour for the car ride and their best behaviour for the professional. It's almost like they know exactly what they're doing. Now, the bill. You go in for a quick look at the limp and you leave having agreed to a consultation fee, an examination fee, an x-ray, just to rule things out, and something called a clinical waste disposal charge, which I assume means they've thrown away a cotton wool ball and are billing you for the privilege. Nobody tells you the price before. It's the only industry left where you agree to the treatment first and discover the invoice second, like some kind of medical mystery box. We'd like to run some bloods. Great, how much is that? We'll let you know at the end. At the end of what? My financial life? And then there's the specialist referral, which is somehow always required and always somehow a 40-minute drive to a building that looks like a Tesla showroom, where the consultation fee alone could fund a modest weekend away. For you, not the cat. The cat doesn't get his say in this. The cat isn't even contributing. Pet insurance, in theory, exists to help with this. In practice, pet insurance is a document specifically designed so that whatever is currently wrong with your cat was legally always going to be wrong with your cat, dating back to a routine checkup in 2019 where a vet once used the word monitor. That's it. That's the pre-existing condition. One raised eyebrow from a vet 4 years ago and suddenly you're covering everything yourself. And here's the thing though. Here's the fundamental issue underneath all of this spending. We keep calling ourselves owners. We're not owners. Nobody who has ever met a cat believes deep down they own it. Cats don't have owners. Cats have staff. Think about the actual structure of the relationship. You provide housing, food, climate control, medical care, and a 24-hour on-call service. And in exchange, you receive occasional access. A cat will let you pet it the way a landlord lets you use the car park. Generously, temporarily, subject to review. And it's shift work. You're on call. 3 a.m, footsteps on the stairs, a meow outside your door that means it's nothing urgent, nothing at all. He simply wants to confirm you're still employed. There's no annual leave, there's no notice period, there is only the occasional dead moth left on your doormat, which is, as far as I can tell, the closest thing cats come to offering a Christmas bonus. And the appraisals are brutal. You do everything right, clean the litter tray, fresh water, the expensive food, not the cheap stuff. He knows the difference. He has opinions about the wet food. And you still get the long, slow blink of disapproval and a decision to sit exclusively on your laptop the one time you're on a work call with your camera on. That is not an accident. That is a performance review, and you failed it. Which brings us to the cattery, the single most emotionally devastating institution in modern life, because you're going away for a week. And now you have to arrange care for a small, judgmental creature who does not understand the concept of I'll be back, and who is absolutely convinced the moment you zip up that suitcase that this is the end, that you are never coming back, that he's being resettled. And you drive him to the cattery and you drop him off, and the staff are lovely and they show you the luxury suite, which is a very nice way of describing a slightly bigger box. And there's a little walkway and a heated bed, and you're meant to feel reassured. But instead, you're standing there thinking, he has never lived anywhere but my house. He does not know these people. He's going to think I've sold him. And there are some catteries offering a webcam service now. For a small additional fee, you can watch a live feed of your cat's enclosure while you're away, which sounds comforting until you actually load it up on holiday, cocktail in hand, and watch your beloved companion just asleep. Completely fine, not distressed in the slightest, sprawled out like he's on a spa retreat having the time of his life, not thinking about you once, while you have ruined your own holiday checking a webcam every 40 minutes out of guilt he does not share with you. That's the real twist of the cattery experience. You suffer, he does not. You come home overflowing with apology, extra treats, gentle voice, mummy's back, mummy's so sorry, and he looks at you the way you'd look at a co-worker who left early on a Friday. Mild acknowledgement, no fanfare, then he walks past you to sit in the exact patch of sun he was sitting in before you left. It's as if the week simply didn't happen to him at all, only you. So, a few more observations before we wrap this up. The knocking things off shelves phenomenon, which isn't clumsiness, it's a controlled experiment. He's not knocking your glass off the table by accident, he is establishing scientifically whether gravity still applies and whether you're paying attention. And the answer to both apparently needs to be reconfirmed several times a day. The multi-cat household hierarchy, where there is always one senior cat who has never done a single chore in their life and one junior cat who is inexplicably responsible for absorbing all household anxiety, alerting everyone to the postman and testing whether the new boxes are safe. The cone of shame, post-surgery, where your dignified, aloof animal is reduced to walking into door frames for a fortnight and somehow makes you feel responsible for his own poor spatial awareness. And the eternal mystery of the vet bill itemisation, where nail clip costs the same as a small home appliance despite taking 4 seconds and requiring the vet to essentially wrestle a burrito made entirely of teeth. So here it is. Vets you can't get into for a fortnight. Bills that arrive like plot twists, cats who consider you contracted staff rather than family, and a cattery experience specifically engineered to make you suffer while he has medically confirmed the best week of his year. And you'll do it all again, because at some point in the last however many years, you signed an invisible contract, no negotiation, no cooling off period that says, you serve, he judges, and occasionally, he sits on your lap during a thunderstorm like you're the only safe place in the world, and somehow that one moment cancels out the entire invoice. That's it for this episode of 9 Lives, No Refunds. If your vet bill has ever made you audibly gasp in a waiting room full of strangers, or if your cat has ever looked at you like you personally ruined his whole week by going to a cattery he doesn't even remember, please tell me I'm not alone. Rate, review, subscribe, leave feedback or rants you would like included in future episodes. And check your food bowl. Apparently it's been 4 minutes.